a light in the forest, the heart's labor of love. For Grandma and Grandpa, and for all the others who move as light and never even realize the brightness of the love they bring. Love's labor. It is 8:11 in the morning as I pull out of the drive. The car trip meter reads 22.2 miles. Today is Labor Day in the United States and a rare traffic-free Monday in the Atlanta suburbs. The work I am doing is, I know, merely a labor of love, and one that nobody but me cares about or can even comprehend. It would be easy to allow it to be stillborn in my life, but I cannot. So on this, my life's constant and soulful revolution, only ever unfolding in this moment of the now, I head to my beloved Kentucky and into the woods where I will shed my skin again and see what I might find. At a stoplight, I glance at my phone screen and see the picture of my two dogs, Emily and Edgar. I send thoughts of love, grace, and ease to all those I am leaving behind, especially my two Aussie shepherds. I remember how we found them that rainy spring break day when my 6-year-old son and I were at the library. I had been lost in the poetry of Edgar Allan Poe and Emily Dickinson when I saw them shivering in the puddle outside the library window. When I inquired, the librarian shrugged her shoulders. She tells me they have been abandoned here, deliberately it seems, and nobody is quite sure what to do with them. We took them home that day. They have lived large in my heart ever since. I drive on, my heart filled with the love and sadness of this world that seem inextricably bound. As per my usual, I pay attention to the signs, noticing I have passed Grace Church, followed by a sign for Sweetwater something or the other. This is the name of our subdivision and the street on which our home is situated. I laugh out loud when the next sign I see literally reads, Signs of Interest for the Sign Shop. I already know this will be another daring adventure filled with new and the sweet synchronicity. I pass 2 yellow diamond road signs that feature only pictures, no words. I have mixed feelings about the dramatic switch to almost exclusive visual communication on America's byways and highways. As a visual learner, I process information best when images accompany words, yet there is something about the pictures-only approach on the signs that troubles me. I can still hear my son's 7th grade language arts teacher lamenting what she likes to call the dumbing down of America, and I think, who could argue with her now? On the cut-through from 575 to 75 north toward Chattanooga, I cross over Boston Creek and Stamp Creek, which takes me back to the American Revolution and the cry for freedom that sounded out in the Boston Harbor and in other New England towns up and down the eastern seaboard. I remember me in 7th grade. I collected stamps and had one that I treasured of the Bostonian rebels dumping their English tea. Even at 13, and maybe especially then, I was enamored with all things revolutionary and freedom's roads unfurled. These last 2 years had been about freeing myself of all that was extraneous. I had set out to surrender the superfluous so that I might savor an extraordinary life, freestyle. I was getting closer with every month that rolled by, feeling lighter and freer, yet filled to capacity with gratitude for all I knew I would receive. I had set out on this morning for my beloved Kentucky hills in 2 weeks of solitude and bliss. I pass a fire extinguisher store, which is almost the first such store I have ever seen, and consider all the so-called emergencies that leave us scrambling, sirens screaming, to put out fires and extinguish the flames of all that fixes us to the feeling of confinement. We are trained from an early age to spot any signs of something amiss. We are taught to be fixers, to put out fires in favor of peace and calm, and to keep our cool. But I want to burn. I want to be the fire, burning bright, a starry night, a joyous disruptor in the solemn sky, a revolutionary, joyous spirit, an original idea the world has never seen. To do that, I know I must set my sights on a broader horizon than all these problems waiting to be fixed, and all the fires that might keep me busy for a lifetime. So it is, I set out on the open road. I've always been fond of the quote, a ship's safe in the harbor, but that's not what ships are for. I know who I am, a free spirit, unbound, unshackled, free from the illusion that I belong to a world of anyone's making but my own, a sovereign spirit. I make this proclamation above all else to myself. I shall have no more taxation without representation. I will no more be tarred and feathered, gagged and bound by those within or without who might set themselves up as judge and ruler to institute some reign of terror. I sipped the hot tea that I filled my travel mug with that morning, headed due north and true north, navigating from my heartland. I consider life's labor of love this holiday and feel only the grace of being on the way. My heart is fully mine, my life brimming with possibility, thanks to a willingness to risk it all for freedom and a song.